10 Facts about the Tiger Tank. On September 15, 1916, in Flers-Courcelette, part of the Battle of the Somme, the tank was first utilized as a battlefield weapon, ushering in a new era of mechanized warfare. Despite early advancements, the tank's full potential as a weapon was not realized until the interwar years, and by the outbreak of World War II, the tank had evolved into a significantly more effective and lethal weapon. The German Panzer tanks, the legendary Soviet T-34 tank, which proved so efficient at the Battle of Kursk, and the US M4 Sherman tank were all notable tanks at the period. The German Tiger tank, on the other hand, was consistently among the best, outperforming British and American tanks throughout the whole of the conflict. Why was this, and did it actually deserve its legendary status? 1. The first Tiger tank prototype was scheduled to be ready for Hitler's birthday on April 20, 1942. After invading the Soviet Union on June 22, 1941, Germany was astounded to find Soviet T-34 medium and KV-1 heavy tanks considerably superior to anything they had at the time. Orders for a German prototype for a new tank necessitated a weight increase to 45 tons and a gun caliber increase to 88 mm in order to compete. At Hitler's base at Rastenburg, both the Henschel and Porsche businesses exhibited designs for him to inspect. The designs did not include sloped armor, unlike the Panther tank. Following trials, the Henschel design was deemed superior and more practicable for mass production, owing to the Porsche VK4501 prototype's reliance on significant quantities of copper, a crucial war material in short supply at the time. Tiger I production began in July 1942, and the Tiger saw action against the Red Army near Mangin, about 43 miles southeast of Leningrad, in September 1942, and then against the Allies in Tunisia in December of that year. 2. Porsche was responsible for the name Tiger. Despite the fact that Ferdinand Porsche picked Henschel's design, the tank was given the nickname Tiger, with the Roman numeral appended when the Tiger II went into production. 3. 1,837 Tiger I and Tiger II tanks were built in total. When the Tiger was immediately put into service, it was still in the prototype stage, therefore improvements were made during the production run, including a modified turret with a lower cupola. Due to poor factory production rates, incorporating these improvements might take several months, implying that the Tiger I took roughly twice as long to produce as other German tanks. The design was streamlined to help with production, partly due to a lack of raw materials. Components for the Tiger were manufactured by a broad network of companies and then carried by train to Henschel's factory in Kassel for final assembly, with a total building time of roughly 14 days. From July 1942 through August 1944, the Tiger was in production for 2 years. There were only 1,347 Tiger I's manufactured. After that, Henschel built 490 Tiger IIs till the war ended. Any other battlefield vehicle created in such small quantities would be forgotten in a flash, but the Tiger's remarkable combat performance made it worthwhile. 4. It had a highly unorthodox manual to encourage soldiers to actually read it. Tank commanders in their early years were uninterested in poring over pages of instructions and schematic diagrams concerning their tanks. Panzer General Heinz Guderian permitted engineers to infuse the Tiger's manual, the Tigerfibel, with comedy and a light tone, as well as sexual photos of scantily dressed ladies, knowing that these commanders would be handling their most critical and expensive piece of equipment. Each page featured pictures, cartoons, and easy-to-read scientific schematics, all printed in black and red ink. As a result of the Tigerfibel's popularity, additional unconventional guides imitated its approach. 5. Nearly everything about the Tiger was over-engineered. The Tiger's 88mm wide mobile main gun was so powerful that projectiles would often pierce enemy tanks and emerge on the other side. Its substantial armor allowed a crew, typically of 5, to park in front of an enemy anti-tank gun without danger of being hit. With a weight of 57 tons, the Tiger II was the largest tank employed during World War II, and its engine was so strong that it could keep up with tanks less than half its weight at 40 km per hour. When crossing bridges, however, this weight was a concern. Tigers were originally equipped with a snorkel that allowed them to cross rivers up to a depth of 13 feet, but this was ultimately abandoned, decreasing the depth to 4 feet. 6. It was nearly impervious to Allied guns. The Tiger's front armor was 102 mm thick, and its strength was sufficient that shells launched from British Churchill tanks would simply bounce off the Tiger. 8 bullets fired from a 75 mm wide artillery piece ricocheted off the side of a Tiger from a distance of only 150 feet during an early combat with the Allies in Tunisia. A projectile from a Tiger's 88 mm cannon, on the other hand, could pierce 100 mm thick armor at distances of up to 1,000 meters. 7. It had an aura of invincibility. During World War II, the Tiger was one of the most feared weapons. In addition to its near impervious armor, it could destroy an enemy tank from almost a mile range, and it was extremely effective on the correct terrain, leading the Allies to spend a significant amount of time following their movements. During World War II, the Tiger was one of the most feared weapons. In addition to its near impervious armor, it could destroy an enemy tank from almost a mile range, and it was extremely effective on the correct terrain, leading the Allies to spend a significant amount of time following their movements. Only the German army understood how to operate the Tiger, and on Hitler's instructions, disabled Tiger tanks had to be destroyed on the spot to prevent the Allies from gathering intelligence about them. Despite its fearsome reputation, the Tiger was mostly a defensive tank, primarily aiding medium tanks by eliminating enemy tanks at long range to create battlefield breakthroughs, while largely disregarding hits from smaller Allied anti-tank guns. The Tiger's power to terrorize enemy troops, on the other hand, is slightly overblown. Allied tank refusals to engage Tigers are often attributed to differing tactics rather than a fear of the Tiger. The artillery's job, according to the Allies, was to engage tanks in gunfights. A Sherman tank crew that spotted a Tiger radioed the position to the artillery and then left the area. 8. It was prone to mechanical issues. Although better on the battlefield, the Tiger's complex design and lack of attention to individual component repair made it difficult and expensive for mechanics to maintain. Many Tigers broke down due to track failures, engine fires, and broken gearboxes, and had to be abandoned. Before utilizing the Tiger in combat, many crews only had a fortnight to familiarize themselves with it. Many people became stuck because they were unaccustomed to its quirks when driving in difficult terrain, with the Tiger being particularly sensitive to immobilization when mud, snow, or ice formed between its inner leaf Skatelow fork pattern road wheels. The Tiger's range was also hampered by its high fuel consumption. A 60-mile excursion might consume 150 gallons of gasoline. It was difficult to keep this gasoline supply going, and it was vulnerable to disruption by resistance fighters. 9. It was very expensive to manufacture, both in terms of money and resources. The production of each Tiger cost about 250,000 marks. Germany's money and resources dwindled as the conflict progressed. The Germans prioritized producing many more tanks and cheaper tank destroyers for the expense of one Tiger. In fact, a single Tiger used enough steel to produce 21 plus 105 mm howitzers. The Allies created several tanks that excelled the Tiger by the conclusion of the war, including the Joseph Stalin II and the American M26 Pershing. 10. Only 7 Tiger tanks still survive in museums and private collections. Tiger 131 was the world's last operational Tiger I tank as of 2020. It was captured on April 24, 1943, during the North African Campaign, and experts at the Tank Museum in Bovington, Dorset, eventually restored it to working order. To add authenticity to the film Fury, the Tiger 131 was given to the producers. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.